Hello, hello, and welcome. I'm so excited to be here with you, and I'm very grateful for you and for this platform that connects each one of us to new opportunities. My name is Jana Masik, and I'm the host of this LinkedIn Live broadcast, Powering Unique You. Today, I want to start with a story that you might have heard, yet it's still a very important story to know. So, the scientific studies and psychological research was done on self discipline and how self discipline is portrayed in children. So there were a set of children that were put in a room with the marshmallows, and they were told that if they wait and not touch marshmallows, they're going to get a big reward. And then another set of children also were set in the room and asked to do the same. So they were children that exhibited self-control, that did not touch marshmallows, and they wanted to receive a bigger reward afterwards. And there are a set of children that said, I'm just going to go for marshmallows right now and enjoy them as they are. And the interesting result of that study was that it's those children that did not touch marshmallows, they actually achieved a bigger goals, and they had more success in their lives after all. So today's topic is something that I've been working on myself. It's something that is very near and dear to me, and I really want to make this a conversation today. It's about self-discipline. What is self-discipline? How can we improve self-discipline? And what are the things that are working and not working? And there are some things that I found are helping me to make progress, and I want to share them with you. And I would love to hear from you what works for you in your pursuit of developing self-discipline. Well, an interesting fact is that as parents, if you're a parent, raise your hand, let me know. We all want to discipline our children. We all want our children to be very well behaved, make good choices, have delayed gratitude, know that the instant impulses are not the best for them, that if they wait and they develop persistence and willpower, they will have a better outcomes. Yet, how many of us as parents exhibit those skills and exhibit those, self-discipline, I say, examples for our children? That's an interesting question. And I say, I catch myself sometimes that the things that I teach and expect of my children, I need to really teach and expect of myself in the higher level. So as you're joining in today, please say hi. I'm so excited to see my friend Ben. Hello, Ben. Happy Monday. So good to see you. Thank you for joining in and supporting me today. And the marshmallow study. Yeah. I'm not sure if I would hold off for marshmallows. But there's some tempting things in our lives that I think hold us back from achieving what we could achieve, and holding us back from reaching our potential. Just because we choose some instant things, just because we don't work on developing that self-discipline. And I find it challenging for myself. I find it that it is not easy, especially when we are at our own, on our own terms, I would say. So if you look at our society, put in a very interesting structure, right? So from the childhood, we are with our parents, and then we kind of go into the structural ways of living. We have a kindergarten, we have school structure, then we have college structure, then there's a job structure. There's always some type of external structure that somewhat drives or motivates our schedule, our expectations, and we're put in some type of environment that in a way pushes us to be disciplined and to move toward executing certain things. But when that structure is taken away, and you may find yourself in a position when maybe you've lost a job, and you are out of job and you're trying to find a job and there is no structure around you. Or it's interesting when we work from home, and I've had that experience, that structure of office work related type is not there, and you have to recreate that structure yourself. There are a lot of responsibilities and things that need to happen, yet that external structure is somewhat removed, and you have to create the self-discipline, because if you are in a way where you work too much, you are workaholic, you can be like me sometimes, wake up at 3 a.m. and checking my emails and making sure my customers are taken care of, and that's not healthy. So there needs to be a healthy boundaries, and self-discipline, I believe, is the core, and that's what I found in my experience, is so important to work on, and finding ways how can we improve. And that really contributes to how can we move ourselves forward toward the dreams that we want to achieve, the goals that we set for ourselves. And then if you are starting your own business, there is no structure whatsoever. So it's very interesting that I think the self-discipline is at the core of how driven you're going to be, and how you're going to set the framework, the structure for yourself to achieve what you believe you do need to achieve. And it takes time and persistence. So hello, Verlene, I'm so happy to see you here. Ben is saying, trying to get better. Thanks for discussing this. Yes, we hold our kids as much higher standard that we hold ourselves. We need more discipline. We all need this, Ben. I agree with you. And that's the reason why I wanted to share this topic today, because I find myself struggling. I find myself sometimes it can go into a way where you start blaming and shaming and, beating yourself up because you have such higher standards and you think you're not achieving them. So there needs to be a balance. There needs to be a good measured balance. And before we dive into the things that I believe are helpful, I want to tell you what science is saying about self-control, scientific facts. You might have heard them, but it's interesting that it takes self-control to stop unhealthy habits. And let's admit, all of us as adults, we have a lot of unhealthy habits. And those unhealthy habits not necessarily related to our physical health, right? It can be mental habits. We are wasting our mental capacity, our time, our mental energy on things that are not serving us well. It can be emotional habits that we emotionally, when we're triggered, for me, it's going and spending money unnecessary on things I don't need really. And the money that I don't really have, they're not budgeted. So those kind of emotional inclinations, and there can be different unhealthy habits that can drive us into, in a way, in a darker space that can be geared toward destruction instead of building. And this is something that we need to recognize and really take control. And I love that self-discipline is paired or synonym to willpower. And I love the willpower because each one of us have the power of our own will to make choices, to make decisions, to make better things happen in our own life, and then also hopefully impact others as well. So the 5 facts that I found very interesting, the science is saying about self-control, is that lack of self-control, it leads to selfishness. That's an interesting fact. And let me know if you can relate to that. But I find that, people that are less self-controlled, they want to things happen for them faster and quicker, and they're getting triggered when things don't happen for them. So let's develop self-control from that point of view of, maybe being a little bit more selfless, a little bit, maybe giving a little bit more than just me, receiving everything from me. So a lot of my friends, though, they're joining in. Thank you so much. I admire your selfishness, though, and I admire how you manage your work life and your personal life. And I would like to hear your thoughts on this topic as well. So the other thing that science is saying about self-control, it's linked to successful outcomes. And in that story with marshmallows, they studied actually the children that take time and take reservation. They're not as fast in making decisions and making choices and grabbing things that are just in front of them. They're actually more successful outcomes because it takes time. sometimes the instant gratification, the instant pleasure, it may not be the best that is for us, and we need to recognize that. And it's not easy sometimes when you're on your own and you have this pile of ice cream and you really want it, and you're like, no guilt, I'm just gonna eat it up. Well, no guilt, but if it happens every other day, maybe not be as healthy for you. So number 3 that I really like is self-training, self-control promotes behavioral changes. And I think behavioral changes are sometimes the most difficult for us to make. Those habits that we fall into, those routines that we find ourselves in, we build them. They may not be based on self-control, and there may be a lot of impulses in them. I found this holiday season, I've lived a little bit of overspent. My husband and I, we set the budget, and then I realized I went into like this kind of a mode, and I wanted this for kids and I wanted that for kids. And that showed me that I really needed to be more exercising in self-control, being aware, sticking to my word, sticking to my agreement to my husband. So I had apologized to him. I said, I overspent already on the budget. And it's really takes awareness, and it really, we need to recognize that we need to make those changes within. And again, Ben, I agree, it's so easy to expect it of our children. It's so easy to want them to teach that to them verbally, but I believe that we all need to find a way to learn how to improve it ourselves within. Sandra, so good to see you here, my friend. I am so agreeing with you. Ben is hilarious. Is saying cutting the right to the selfish center. Well, that's true, and it's hard to admit. I agree with you. So the other thing that scientists found that is people that have developed better self-control are actually happier, and that caused me to think for a minute, because sometimes outwardly, and let me know if you can relate to that. Outwardly, when we are around people or with people right now on Zoom mostly, or on live platforms like this, when we are around people, we tend to be more uplifted. We tend to be more energetic. We tend to be more excited. But when we are by ourselves in our own skin, and we look around at our life that we've built, we look around at our surrounding, do we have happiness deep within us? And do we truly have the joy? And that's interesting, because are we wasting away our energy? Are we wasting away our time? Are we wasting away our abilities on things that don't matter? Again, tying into those impulses, something that like instant, or are we persistently building that through self-discipline, through willpower, the things that are valuable, the things that are important to us, and thus find happiness in that? And it takes perseverance, and it takes strength, and it takes determination, right? So it's like it was a really check for me. Are you happy, and why are you unhappy, and what really triggers? And are you truly, working toward what meaningful, what matters the most, and what's valuable to you? And the last thing that I really like is that you can improve your self-control. So that's a great promise from science to us, that, looking at ourselves, looking at our own circumstances, we don't have to feel that we're doomed and things cannot change. The beautiful thing is that our brain is constantly developing. We have a free will, and we can change, and we can improve, and we can make small incremental changes toward the things that we truly believe are important in our lives, and making those changes from within. So that is all that I love to hear about science. And Sandra is saying many people have said this tiny book is an eye opener. And thank you, Sandra, for sharing it. It says, make your bed. I agree. In creating small habits of self-discipline, it leads to greater discipline and bigger things. Thank you so much for sharing. This is so thoughtful of you, my friend. And I would love for you to share what you find works in your life and in your professional life related to self-discipline, and what you find maybe challenging, if you are willing to share that, that have not really, you maybe had difficulties overcome. For some of us, it may be unhealthy habits. For some of us, it may be too much time on social media, and for some of us, maybe it's indulging in something that is, we know, that doesn't serve us well. So those are different things that really need to be radar scanned by ourselves. And sometimes it's good to open up and share them, because I think admitting it to ourselves and to others help us to find some help to move toward the progression and to move toward developing that self-discipline and improving it. And for some of us, it may be just that personal radar, personal check in within, I say, that can help you to really improve. And there are a couple of things that I really found that are also interesting, that 4 skills that can help us to improve that willpower, that self-discipline. And I see here the defining also willpower. What is a self-discipline? It's a self-control. Willpower, it's your determination. It's your drive. How driven are you? In a more specific way, you can also define it as delayed gratification. So short-term temptations, short-term pleasures, marshmallows, versus to something that is going to take time to develop. And I think in our careers, sometimes we are driven by just making things happen quickly, and we're not focusing on what the long-term implications are. And maybe sometimes we need to put our energy into not just the quick solution baskets, but divide our energy and attention into something that is going to come over time. So that is, I feel, is an important skill. It's capacity to override unwanted thought, feeling, or impulse. It's a tremendous capacity that I think can serve us very well, to override this maybe feeling of anger, maybe feeling of frustration or irritation, and this impulse of doing something quickly. And again, looking at children, we all want them to develop that. My son has had challenges with being impulsive, being quick to react, being quick to, let me just fix it and hit it and get done with it. And we maybe developed it somewhat as adults, but I do believe we all have ways to improve. And another ability is to find a way, or find the ability to employ the cool cognitive system instead of a hot emotional system. And that is something that I've shared in another episode about your brain states, whether you are triggered and you're in the red zone and you're ready to fight and flight. You're in an emotional state, so to speak, a yellow zone where you're driven by emotions, or in your green state, in your frontal lobe, that you are making the best decisions you can make, you can be the best, make the best choices for yourself. So it's ability of transferring yourself from the triggered state, fight or flight, into your cognitive, into your prefrontal lobe, into your cool state, where you can calm yourself effectively and you can start thinking logically and don't make impulsive decisions. Like, there is a saying you might heard people say, foolish decisions are made in the heat, right? When you're angry, when you're frustrated and you're making important life decisions, most likely that decision is not going to be the best. So it is ability for us to cool ourselves down and bring ourselves to the frontal lobe, to start thinking through before we make that, especially life-changing decisions, right? I can share a quick story about that. Actually, that came to my mind right now is about my experience at work. There was some situation that was unpleasant, and there was a trigger happening, and there was some heated conversation happened to my manager. It was years ago. And after that heated conversation, I was so triggered. I walked away, and my first inclination, my first impulse was to go out, to write a quit note and toss it into his face and say, I quit. I don't want to work here. I don't want to work for you anymore. That was my impulse. That was my, just desire to just, find a way to just show it that I don't agree with what was discussed and the way it was presented. But I had to take a walk, and it was good that I had a good friend of mine who I can just share this little heated conversation with, and we had a little bit of discussion about it, and then I had to take a walk and have to think through before I make any actions. And rationally, when I were able to calm myself down, calm my emotions down, calm the triggered state down, I realized that in the moment it may feel good, but it is not going to serve well for my family. It is not going to serve well for my career. It is not going to serve well for my financial situation for my family. Overall, it is not a great decision. It would be foolish for me to do that. And instead, I had to recognize that maybe I need to work on something within that triggers me to that response. And then finding a way to reposition myself in the situation. So that is, I say professional experience, we all may encounter that. We all may encounter that with our loved ones, with our spouses, or, maybe sometimes with a friend. So I say encouraging ourselves not to take decisions in a heated situation is really powerful. Hi, Andrew. So good to see you, my friend. Says, for me, small daily goals are most impactful. I use a whiteboard a lot, writing to-dos and gaining satisfaction of removing items. This is good. This is really great progress. These small goals lead to larger ones to ensure productive use of time. I love this. I love how you set yourself up for success. It's visual. You track your goals. You know that the small goals throughout the day lead to accomplishment of a larger goals. This is a great successful process that you have. And the other, say, willpower is also related to conscious regulation of the self. And we touched on that a little bit. And I say 4 important skills or techniques that I find are being helpful to me right now in trying to manage that, improving my self-discipline. And please share, like Andrew shared, what works for you. I believe in this amazing community here. I believe that we can each other support and share our wisdom and share what works for us, and we can make changes in our own lives and in the lives of others. So 4 things that I believe, or skills or techniques that can help you to improve your self-discipline. Number 1 is developing deeper self-awareness. And this is really important one, because when we're self-aware, it's more of a taking a conscious approach instead of this unconscious, impulsive approach. And the science also say that most of our decisions, or most of the things that we go through by life, are so habitual that they're so unconscious that we don't even stop and think about them. And sometimes we find ourselves just going through life, and especially when you are trying to survive, when you're struggling, maybe you have emotional situation or some kind of conflict in your relationship, or maybe you have financial struggle, or maybe you're out of job and you're trying to find a job, but it's been months and you are not able to find a job. Or maybe your business right now, small businesses are hurting really bad and there's really not a light in the tunnel. So it's very easy to fall into that unconscious way of dealing with things and doing things and going through your day, being in the motion, so to speak, but without emotion. Really, truly, deeply doing that self-audit, I believe, can serve you. And if you feel that, you are in a depression, seek professional help, even professional help. Or maybe if you feel that you're not there that you need a professional help, maybe find a coach, or maybe find somebody that can help you to just brainstorm or just brain dump things on the paper, all of the things that are inside of your head. And gaining this deeper self-awareness can, I believe, truly help to improve that, increase that willpower, increase that self-discipline. So the other thing, number 2, is really important, is believe in your power, believe in your willpower. And this is really ties into confidence and ties into your ability to know that you can figure things out. And that comes in any kind of condition. If you're at the job and let's say you're on a job and there were 4 people let go in your department and you're overwhelmed and overloaded with work, you're grateful to have a job, yet you're just drowning because there's so much to do. That may be a trigger. Maybe you're out of job and you're trying to hectically find a job and your finances are really tight. Maybe you're a small business owner and you're trying to figure out what's the next lead and what's the next business pivot you need to make. I say believe in yourself, believe in your ability to figure things out, in your willpower. You can make things happen for yourself, just like Andrew shared, making small progress, making it visual, finding a way that works for you, that can move you towards your dreams, towards your goals. Simple steps, one day at a time. So breaking it down is really easy. And number 3, that is simple yet important. And this is something that I've been working on building throughout this year. And I can say I kind of slummed on it. I kind of dropped it a little bit. Yet I need to start doing that again. It's regular physical exercise. I believe it is so important, and it can be in any type of shape or form. You can take a walk. You can stretch 10 minutes. You can do some robust routine. You can hire an online trainer. You can do a Zumba dance, whatever works for you. I say implement the physical exercise in our daily routine. That is so important. That I found the days that I've been consistent with it, I found myself being able to exhibit more willpower, being able to achieve more things. And then when I slided back and I didn't exercise and I didn't really take time to fuel my body and move myself around, I kind of dragged myself throughout the day and maybe have not made the best decisions and best use of my time and my energy throughout those days. So it's a simple action, but it's also dedication. You have to push through it, because on those days that you don't feel like it, those days are the most important ones to do that, right? So let me know if you can relate to this. And the last one is really your intention. How can you implement intention in what you do? Intention around how you structure your day, intention around how you spend your energy. I know there are people that are implementing blocking time. So I'm looking at some ways in being more productive and self-disciplined with my time and energy, and knowing that I make the best use of it for my family and for my business. And I can be the most productive I can be throughout the day without burning myself out. So it's setting up intention on what you want to achieve, and setting up intention on how you want to implement things in your life. And again, being persistent. It's knowing that things don't happen overnight. It's knowing that, today you've done some things toward your progress, like Andrew shared, and you need to be okay with just not completing that. Don't, try to build a town in one day. Sometimes it's a noble, aspiration, but it can really burn you down, and then you get discouraged because things did not happen the way you envisioned them to happen. So those are my 4 things that I wanted to share with you, my friends, today. I'm so happy to see you here. I'm so happy that you're tuning in. And I'm really excited to see you all here. So if you find this helpful, I would really appreciate if you can share it with your community. Share that button. Let me know if you like it. Send me that like. If you want to see anything specifically to talk about and cover in the next coming episodes, I'm going to have a few more amazing guests coming in the next shows. Let me know what are the specific topics you want to talk about. And as you share, put some notes or some takeaways or things that have served you. I would appreciate it greatly. So it's been my privilege to share these 4 simple steps, 4 simple techniques that can help you improve your self-discipline, increase your willpower, and set you up to be more successful, more vibrant, more vital, and achieve the goals you want to achieve. Become the person you want to become by making small incremental changes. Thank you for tuning in today. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Until then, keep powering unique you, my friend.